If you look at you need money because you need something, all you're being is a person who's extracting value, not focused on creating value.
Welcome back to the Your Unanswered Questions podcast. I am your co-host, Luke Smith, here with my co-host, Leo Simpson II, experienced expert, and we're very excited to hear his thoughts today, and my thoughts as well. Two different perspectives, but they're both in the effort of satisfying your questions. And this is an audience-driven podcast. We're here to serve you. I'm here to answer your questions, here to give you any insights we can. So please keep leaving your questions in the comments, and we'll be sure to address those. We have a large bank of questions to answer, but today we're just going to answer one of them. I'm very excited about it too, because previously we talked about when should I stop trading my time for money? And now we're going to be talking about how can I stop trading my time for money? So let's just your first thoughts on that.
So first thought is, I stick with what I said, that the win is now, right? And now from the perspective that it starts with a shift in your thought process. Like, I want to really emphasize this, not just in this podcast, but in others going forward, that behavior change is not where you start to change your results. Okay. So if you've been trading time for money, meaning you either work for an hourly wage, you work for a salary, or you primarily work where your pay is based on productivity. Productivity is not completely exchanging time for money, but the thought process really gets down to you're either prioritizing consumption, meaning what you can get, or compensation, what you can earn, which also deals with, an identity context. That's another conversation. So you have to shift from what you get to what you give. And that starts with how you think about what you do, why you do life holistically. So when should you stop? Right now. And you stop first and foremost by changing the way you think about trading time for money. And you look at your current role, whatever you're doing, as it is an avenue for creating value for someone other than yourself, and an avenue for growth and development so that you can continue to expand the creation of value for someone other than yourself. Why? Because the creation of value for someone other than yourself returns you value in the form of reward, compensation, the ability to consume, right? Now, you say that, Leo, Professor, Mr., however you want to say it, and how does that correspond to how do you begin to stop trading your time for money? Well, let me share this. I shared this in our personal finance class. There are 4 types of payment, okay? We pay in time, we pay in energy, we pay in effort, we pay in money. Most often we think about payment being associated with money, right? So there's this thing in our economic environment that says, hey, you can get this for free. You know what that really means? You can get this free of money, but not free of time, energy, or effort, depending on what it is, right? For example, if you go, let's suggest that we had something set up right now where it's like, hey, there's this offer you can get from us. In order to get the offer, you have to give your name and email to even have the offer sent to you. Well, that's time, energy, effort. Now, you may even ask me, what's the difference between energy and effort?
Just about to ask you that. Because in our personal finance class, I did ask you that.
Did ask
I think it's important that they
exactly.
Yeah.
What's the difference between energy and effort? Effort is your tangible commitment. Energy is your intangible commitment, meaning energy is where you're dealing with your thought process, you're dealing with the commitment of your internal constitution, you're dealing with how you feel about something, your emotions. Like you're applying something internal to a level of awareness or attention to this thing, right? Effort is you taking physical action as a commitment to what you've already committed to internally and through the allocation of time. So really it's an allocation of layers of yourself. Payment is an allocation of layers of yourself. Time is an allocation of your life. Energy is an allocation of your internal constitution of emotions, thoughts, beliefs, etc. Effort is you actually giving physical commitment, right? And you're allocating the commitment of steps, the commitment of hands, the commitment of speech, the commitment of any context of your physical being. And then money is then that resource that is the accepted exchange among everyone that allows us to then consume with great intentionality. Okay. So go with your thought, because you got something brewing.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, so if you put time and money on a level playing field, the same playing field, they're both forms of payment. Which one is? Because I think it's
can't put it on the level playing field.
Well, people do,
but you can't.
Because
okay, let me say it differently. You shouldn't because they're not able to be on an equal playing field.
But I think if they're in the same category, there are forms of payment. People it's a natural reaction to put them equally.
Sure.
So
being in the same category doesn't mean they're actually requiring the same type of focus.
So how can you rid yourself of that mindset and get into a mindset of, okay, more focus for time and more focus for money? Because we've talked about the thing, how you can't spend money if you're dead.
Correct.
So, yeah.
Exactly. I always ask the question,
yeah.
Hey, have you had anybody pass away? You're like, okay, yes. Okay, who is it? Okay, we establish it to where it's like a deep connection with that person. Can they work? No, they can't. Why? Because they're not alive. What does it mean they don't have? They don't have time.
Yeah.
So you can't produce any money because you have no time to allocate. Right. Okay. So this is important to state before we really say how you stop trading time for money. Time is a form of payment. Money is a form of payment. Also, you get reward, right? Also notice this. There's a context where you get rewarded with time. You get rewarded with energy. You get rewarded with effort. You get rewarded with money. Now you say, how can I get rewarded with time when I can't really get more of it? Well, how wise you are with your time allows you to be able to decide not to apply that time to work. Does it make sense?
So freedom of how to use your
Exactly. Freedom of how to use your time. For example, at this current moment, there's a contract that I'm actually having to close out. All right. This contract I've had for over a year and a half. And I'm having to close it out because there are some things that I actually have to dedicate time, energy, and effort to. And here's why I have to do it. Those things are corresponded to what we're going to talk about in a moment. Those things require my time, energy, and effort because they need the fostering of my thought process, my creativity, my skill sets in order for them to now be what they're capable of being.
Well, do you not agree, though, that for the average working person, that money is a much more practical and a much more enticing reward? Because
yes,
I understand that you're saying, okay, we should prioritize time over money, but if we're saying there's a reciprocal exchange here, it's much easier to chase the money because you want, that's a very tangible thing. I mean, you can spend time here or there, spend energy, effort. Those are much more easy to expend, and not as enticing of rewards. Money is you can purchase things,
Mm-hmm.
you can, increase your well-being. What's around, nicer house, nicer environment, eat nicer food, better medical care. So, how do you stop? So I'll pose it this way: do you think that receiving time as a reward or energy and effort as a reward is as important as receiving money as an award?
No,
Or
it's
more
more
important?
important.
More important. Okay,
More important.
so I'm just trying to see how you can convince a group of people who are at this kind of bare minimum state of being. They're just trying to get by. How can you convince those people that those three forms of payment are more rewarding than money is?
So great disruption.
I gotta get my thoughts. Like, my questions might be their questions.
But that's good. Here's how, but here's why more than how.
Mm.
This goes back to why I started with reiterating that when do you stop trading time for money is now.
Mm.
And it starts with changing the way you think about how you get money. Okay. Most of us think in the context of getting money as a need for consumption. Like, I need money because I need something.
Mm.
Okay. But here's the thing. If you look at you need money because you need something, all you're being is a person who's extracting value, not focused on creating value. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So when you focus on creating value, you put yourself in a position to where value has a natural habit of what? When it is released, it returns in reward. Okay? Now, there is an aspect where you have to ensure that when you go to release value, if you expect the return of monetary value, which is compensation, and it allows you to consume, you have to have a dedicated process for that. For example, if I want to be compensated and I go give to a homeless person, there's nothing wrong with me giving to a homeless person. But if I expect to be compensated by that person, I'm stupid.
Yeah.
That's not the right avenue, right? But if I want to be compensated, I have to decide to create value for someone who not only has the ability to compensate me, but has the incentive to do so. So guess what we do? We identify people who need our work, and we then go what? Give them our time, our energy, and our effort for them to give us what? Money.
Yeah.
Why? Because the reason we went to work is because we needed to get paid. Or we needed to consume, or both.
I see.
You see?
That clears it up,
see?
because they're kind of independent exchanges of
Yes,
one another.
right?
Okay.
So you cannot get money if you don't allocate time. And if when you allocate time, you don't give a level of energy and effort. That's why you get training when you go to work, because they want to direct your energy so that it can focus your effort in what you produce in money. Right? So the money is the most surface level reward. It's actually the reward that is a measure of the fact that you have released time, energy, and effort. You with me? Now, let's bring it back to how we segue into the how. How do you stop trading time for money? The how is when you decide to stop trading time for money and decide that I'm going to, instead of trade time for money, I'm going to trade time for creativity, or to create. Meaning, let's back up. We've talked about this before, and it's necessary to state. there are two definitions that we talk about in the personal finance class with regard to, the experience of personal finance. It was wealth and money. And the first thing I said was wealth is not money. And I'll give you the definition of money, right? And this is going to be very important in being able to understand the context of trading time for money, okay? Wealth, I use the definition from Myron Golden for wealth and money in this context. Wealth is the ability to create value for someone other than yourself. So that is the raw, intangible, foundational level of wealth. When you understand that, the tangible, which we talk about, the measures of wealth, your net worth and things of that sort, it's really a reflection of what you've done with your wealth, which is your ability to create value for someone other than yourself. Money is different, though it's a part of the wealth measure. It's different in context because money is what we receive for having created value for someone other than ourselves. Now, there's another part of it, and we'll hold on that. Think about this. What are the components of our ability to create value? Is it not our time, our energy, and our effort? Right? Like, I get to take my time, my energy, and my effort in the context of my imagination, in the fullness of creativity, and do something that can be valuable to somebody.
Yeah.
Whether that's in what I say or what I do, or a combination. Well, with that being said, money is the measure of being rewarded for releasing your wealth. That is, using your ability to create value for someone other than yourself in a way that returns you the reward of money. And it also tells people, especially when we put on clothes and things of that sort, because we needed money to buy the clothes, right? We needed money to buy the mugs and to buy jewelry and things of that sort. It also tells others that we've created value for someone other than ourselves as well. So it's good. But where you really get to the point as it pertains to the ability to stop trading time for money is when instead of taking your time, your energy, and your effort and applying it to a job alone for the return of compensation so that you can consume, is that you start to take your time, even if you're working on a job, and allocating a certain amount of time and saying, let me create an asset that can be of value to someone and produce income outside of my time, energy, or effort. Now, I'll give you a perfect example. One thing is just like a book.
Yeah.
Like you go and create a book one time, and don't just create a book because you want to tell your story. Listen to me, people. Don't just create a book because you want to tell your story. If your story is valuable from the context of solving a problem for people, then you need to tell your story. But if you're telling your story because you want to tell it and nobody wants to hear it but your mother who was there, and she probably doesn't want to hear it because she was there, then all you're doing is depleting or exhausting the value of your time, energy, and effort. So, how do you stop trading time for money? You trade time for income-producing assets. You create assets that can be set in place at scale to solve problems for people who have those problems and want those solutions, or another way of saying it, for people who have voids and the value you created through that income-producing asset is able to fill that void, then you put them in the position to where they can access something that's of value to them without it requiring your time, energy, and effort for them to benefit from it.
So it's exponential. It's saving time in the future.
Exactly. It's not just saving time in the future. You're leveraging the time now so that you can have the option to apply it in value creation and not just trading time for money.
So your time is more valuable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be here forever.
Or,
you don't know when it's over.
I'm saying if you stop trading time for money, you have to make the time that you do spend
value.
That's a cover
Yep.
time in the future.
Yep. For example,
Mm.
some people say, I want to be able to travel. For what? Just to travel?
Yeah.
You may want to, but the truth is most people want to travel because travel enriches their creativity. It enriches their time. It enriches their experience with life. And it causes them to then show up with greater confidence in life.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we went, we had a staycation for our anniversary. We didn't go anywhere. We just stayed in the city, kind of went to a remote area and just had a cool little time. And that little time had such an exponential impact on how we showed up, not just in our marriage, but then how we showed up with our girls and how we showed up just weeks after that in things that we were doing professionally.
Right.
Changed the game.
Because it's worth
Absolutely.
spend money to make money, as they say.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
And
really,
spend time, spend energy.
you spend
Mm.
money so that not only you can make money, but you can enrich your ability to create value that can return money. See, let me just say it this way. If you really want to get it easy, how do you stop trading time for money? Stop just using your effort to earn and use your effort to create things that can give you the earn.
Okay, it's all an investment. It's about creating and investing. Okay.
You're investing in something that creates value so it can return you value rather than exhausting your value in effort and work to earn, but it limits your ability to see the impact on others.
Yeah.
Like the greater the impact, the greater the income.
Right.
Yeah, write that down.
That's right. All right, any closing thoughts?
No, you finish it.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. I got some great thoughts from Professor Simpson.
There's more on that.
Yeah, there's more. We'll get that in the community. Make sure to join our private community for greater insights, for more answers to your questions, deeper answers, different angles, perhaps biblical perspectives, and to speak with your fellow.
More biblical than you think.
Yeah, no, of course, but the direct,
Yeah.
references, and also to converse with fellow community members, because we were talking today about how this community is not just led by us two. You're a member and you're an expert in your own right. And so we want to hear what you have to say, and the fellow community members also want to hear that as well. And remember to comment any questions you might have, and
share.
If you didn't learn anything,
Subscribe.
if you learned something, I'm sorry, it's been a while since I'm trying to think about our famous line here. If you
did something about it.
The first thing we said, if you did learn something today, please like, share, subscribe, comment. If you did not learn anything,
go
back.
Again.
Go back, learn something, and then go like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time.